terrible happened to her, but I don't really need to know what it was exactly. So that was the thinking about it. But yeah, I think some people, take issue with that. They want to know more. Yes, right at the back, please.
Okay, I was actually curious because the design of Trent, how when she came in at first, we decided to give her eyebrows and eyelashes, but she didn't have hair. So did you do that just to kind of like make her more endearing for the audience, so they like her more?
Are you trying to point out some kind of inconsistency in one film? Gee. Yes, that's true. It doesn't make sense why she has eyebrows and eyelashes. Yeah, you're so right. You are so right. But we totally discussed it.
We certainly discussed it during the question.
No, I'm so joking. That is like a fantastic observation. You're absolutely right, and I think that's where this is a movie and not reality. It's not a documentary. Like the science in the film, as much as I could, I wanted it to be believable and plausible and to hold true to the boundaries of what really exists. But it is not a documentary, and it is not 100% real.
But we also had a absolutely beautiful French actress who would shave her head for the film, but there's no way in hell she's going to take off her eyelashes and eyebrows. It's that simple.
and she wouldn't be as sexy without them. So.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Who thought eyebrows could be so sexy? But it's so true. But that's an interesting point, because with Dren, it was always like, what is the line where is the line that you cross where she is disgusting? Like how, I never wanted her, I didn't want her to be like a painting on the side of a van, with big breasts, and I wanted her actually to be quite androgynous, but beautiful, not in a overtly sexual way. But it was tough, like to know how much was too much and how little was too little. I'm glad that I didn't have holding the mic away from you. You didn't hear what he just said.
No, it's okay.
What did you say, Bob?
Come on, Bob. Hey, you heard it. I just said I'm glad we didn't go with the vagina on the forehead.
I was wondering what your favorite scene to direct was in this film.
Gosh, that's a good question too. The scenes that were the most pleasurable for me were the ones that were really led by the actors, because the actors are so good, and I just, there was a scene, I'll give you an example of a scene that to me wasn't a special scene, but when I was shooting, I was just having so much fun watching the actors, and that was when they were trying to feed the toddler, Dren, when she's leashed to the tank. And Sarah and Adrian were just there was nothing there in the room when we were shooting, of course, because it's a digital character, so they're just reacting to somebody moving a tennis ball around on a ripped arm. And they were just so great. I almost saw the creature there because their performance was so convincing. So I think it was things like that that were really fun for me. Yes?
You watched the end very untethered with her being pregnant. Is there going to be a Splice too?
Do you really want a Splice too? Yeah? Oh, okay. No, that was, actually, I want to sort of...
I'm not taking responsibility for anything. Do you want to talk about the I don't want to talk tomorrow.
Oh, okay. I don't know about the sequel, but I think that one thing I would speak to that I think had something to do with the ending was that what we always felt was that science itself was a character in the film, and so that we felt that it was very believable that people would push these boundaries, and so we thought that as Dren being the antagonist, being kind of playing the role of of science, that she would continue to push the limit. And so we tried to make, every time that she had a challenge herself, that the creature, Dren, had a challenge herself, that she would have a physical characteristic that would make her more powerful than her parents. And that was an association that we had. So, so in the end, what happens, I think that has to do with that.
Actually, I'm going to intercept this. Back at Core, when we were doing the visual effects, we had a contest, names for Splice 2. And we got some pretty creative results out of that. I can't remember the one that won, but we had everything from Dren and Stimpy to 2.5 Dren, Dren versus Predator. I can't remember which one won. It was Paul.
Yeah.
And
He won two.
He won two because of his quirky sense of humor. But there was what's that? Dren, that was mine. Thank you.
So yes, there will be another one?
What's that?
So yes, there will be another?
Yeah, but it could just be in a completely different form. Watch for it on an animated television series.
Yeah, no, but what I was really trying to lead to is, it totally feels like a setup for a sequel, but I never, ever, Antoinette and I never intended it to be a setup for a
It
sequel. It just
definitely
seemed,
seems you into thinking there's going to be another one.
yeah, no, really, it's really about Elsa. It's her story. She's the protagonist. It's about somebody who finally is prepared to carry a child. Yes, sir, in fact.
This comment is to my questions got asked and answers great. But when she was kind of looking in the mirror at her mom and looking at the mirror and then the next instant she snatched that cat,
Right.
I thought she was about to make a wig.
Me too.
You, sir, are a very creative man. Why did we shoot that?
I don't know.
You look like Davy Crockett.
It's like, thanks!
Where were you?
You said the same thing, so maybe it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you should stand up in the audience and turn around and look at this question.
Oh my goodness. Anything else?
I have
Oh, yes.
a question about the choice of car. Because it's older, so you have this past-future dichotomy.
Oh,
Range Rover.
no, I think that's it. I kind of wondered about it too at times, but they drive a Gremlin, which is probably the world's ugliest car, and a vintage one at that. It's part of their geek chic thing. They're just, and they also, I don't know if this came across for you, but the idea is that Clive and Elsa were meeting them at a point where they're only just starting to get money. They've been working, even very successful geneticists do not make a lot of money. It's just, you don't go into that business to become rich. And so, they live in, like, I hate, what was that movie, Flatliners? They're medical students and they all live in like these New York massive, or maybe it was Boston, I don't know, but like these beautiful lofts. It's just completely ludicrous. And I really wanted to scale the film down, in that respect, to make it a little more realistic.
Until this point, I thought it was an homage to movie Gremlins.
He says he thinks it's an homage to Gremlins. He's crazy.
Go with that from now on.
Yes. Yes.
A question about Dren's speech. So even as she was progressing to become, her at the peak of her humanity, she never kind of crossed that threshold into speaking.
Right.
But then at the very end, when she was probably not her least human, but she was kind of evolving back into the animal, that was when she decided to kind of break into human speech. Were there any scenes in which that was expressed any earlier in the movie that kind of got cut, or was that intentional?
That's a good question. No, no. We always felt that Dren should be mute. Just because, man, it'd be really hard to write dialogue for her. And but more importantly, I think I wanted Dren to be an enigma. You just don't quite know what's going on in her head, and if she could articulate herself in any way, I think that would destroy that ambiguity. But my justification